You have Baker Mayfield, who struggled, according to some people, on Sunday afternoon, and the coach, in my opinion, who struggled also, Kevin Stefanski. And D-Man, they went 6 to 15 games this year to get to one position where I can point to and say, you know what, I think the strategy involved here by the coach, Kevin Stefanski, might have cost him a game. Where do you stand on that?
I agree with you. Kevin Stefanski was part of the problem on Sunday against the Jets in the Meadowlands, 23-16 loss. He wasn't the only reason they lost. Obviously, personnel shortages. We know the well-documented receivers room blown up by COVID proximity protocols. 2 linemen gone, 2 linebackers gone for other reasons. So, and, B.J. Goodson had the COVID-related issue, the linebacker. So that was definitely an issue, a problem. But Kevin Stefanski, head scratcher. And as you said, Les, really the first time where you felt like Stefanski went off the rails. As good of a coach as he has been in his first year as an NFL head coach, the fact that he never really tried to establish the running game. 15 total carries for Chubb and Hunt, 11 for Chubb and 4 for Hunt. 53 passes. When you don't have your top 4 receivers, to me is inexcusable. And I know that, in analyzing the Browns' attempted rushes for anything, the analysts have looked at it and seen that there weren't many holes and guys were crashing down for the Jets, cornerbacks, they weren't respecting the receivers. But you still have to do a better job of trying to find balance. You can't tell me that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt against the New York Jets can't be productive players. So Stefanski's got some responsibility. Baker Mayfield didn't play well. You even heard Denzel Ward, the cornerback for the Browns, taking responsibility. I'm glad that they all took responsibility for that because it really was a stink bomb.
All right. Now, your statement about Stefanski and not really doing much offensively or on the run anyway, that may very well be, but that was only after 4 carries on the initial first down situation. You can't make a decision about blowing up your format or your game plan. You can't do that after 4 plays, especially when you should have an advantage. We keep hearing all year how good this running game is. Well, this is the time you show it against a bad New York Jets team. And I just think I never will use the word choke, almost never. I don't say it's a choke job because they still could have won the game, but Stefanski did not put his players in the best position to win a game, especially with all the new wide receivers. You're expecting them in game 15 to make plays that some of the other, obviously you got a couple of all-pro players on this team. You're expecting them to make like a play that OBJ is supposed to make or Jarvis Landry is supposed to make. No, I take my chances with the running game on that day. If it doesn't work by halftime, by the way, as long as you're within a score, if you're down at halftime, you're not out of the game. You don't have to blow up anything. You just go and play your game. Now, if you want to get into the middle of the 4th quarter and you still don't like what you're doing, that's a different story.
Correct. And I know, 13-3 at half, then 20-3. The Jets got up early in the 3rd, so you say, well, how much can you run when you're down 20-3? And there's some credence to that. But to your point, the Browns could have stayed in the game if they would have established the rushing attack more and at least tried to run the ball, which they didn't appear to do. Now, we know that the vast majority of Mayfield's targets were to tight ends and running backs. He didn't, or the majority of them. He didn't throw a lot to the wide receivers, but still, you didn't see the quote-unquote extended handoffs, the leak outs, the arrow routes, the screens, the little dink and dunk, which would have taken some of the pressure off Mayfield and some of the pressure off the depleted receiving core if you run maybe the quick game. But they didn't do that either. I'm wondering about this, Les. As good as Stefanski has been, and we know he's incredibly intelligent, I wonder if he outsmarted himself on Sunday, given that He knew that the Jets were going to expect the Browns to run the ball. So he said, well, guess what? I'm going to trick it up and I'm going to run. I'm going to pass it when you don't think I'm going to pass it. Or did he simply say, he and the coaching staff that puts together the offensive game plan, including Alex Van Pelt and Bill Callahan, did they get together and say, Baker Mayfield is as hot as he's been in his 3-year career. He's coming off of a stretch of games where he was terrific. Why don't we just ride that hot hand, and Baker Mayfield will be able to carry us even if he has no name receivers. I wonder if that might have been in play, but no matter what the thinking was, it was the wrong thinking, and
You could blow it
I'm
up.
glad that Stefanski took responsibility.